I think it's good, that they can look at that and go, okay, well, Dave talks about all these mistakes he made and all these, almost drinking sulfuric acid was one of 1,000 dumb things that I did in my life. And I love for kids to read those stories and go, well, you know what? Dave is not particularly smart. So if he can work on the World Series, then I could do something like that. Maybe I don't have to take that job at Starbucks, or maybe that job at Starbucks doesn't have to be the end where I end up.
Right. So your second book, What Lies Above the Clouds, that's the one that kind of did me in on Thanksgiving, because I stayed up late to read it and got up early to finish it, and then did a blubbering Facebook Live about the book. And, this kind of plays into what we've been talking about, because when the mob came in and took over your town, they did it under the guise of having a drug rehab center. And the sad part is that parents are bringing their children to a place that is not what it purports to be. And, those parents are distraught at the fact that, their children got off the rail somewhere along the way. They, got derailed. And then they're looking for help and hope, and instead they end up with, a murder, a never to be found, a disappearance. And it's to me, it was, being a parent, it was kind of mind-boggling and mind-shattering. And so for those of you who haven't read that book, What Lies Above the Clouds, I would strongly recommend it. But this is why David is on my show, so we're going to get back to the dog thing. So David and I are friends, so I love his book. So in David's books, he talks about Stitch the dog, who was the world's meanest dog, according to David, but she ended up serving a phenomenal purpose and, watched over David and his son, and probably a really good type of dog to have with what was going on in your town. But sadly, you recently lost Stitch, right?
I did. So, and thank you very much. I was thinking the other day, because I just got another copy of your book.
Oh.
And when Switch was 13 years old, she stopped eating. And everyone who saw this knew that it wasn't a good sign. And fortunately, I was familiar with you and your teachings. And so I used your book, and we talked about on the show, like what I could cook for her and how I could have, if I was out of town working on a TV show, how someone else could make food for her while I was gone. And so we enjoyed another 6 months of life with Switch, which was just wonderful.
Awesome.
By cooking food for her. So that got her to eat again, and she was eating very healthy. And we just had such a great time. We literally, we spent every second together that we could. And my little one is now 9 years old, and he and I talked, and I said, buddy, Switch isn't going to live forever. And he's such a smart little boy. He understood, and he would say, I know, Dad, I know she's getting very old, and she's not going to live much longer. And so I said, that's okay. We just have to spend lots of time with her, buddy, and make sure that she knows that we love her. And so my son Wyatt and I would be getting ready to leave the house. I said, okay, buddy, put your shoes on. It's time to go. And he'd say, hold on, Dad. I got to go hug Switch. And he would go and lay down with her on the floor and say goodbye to her. And anyways, we just had such a wonderful last 6 months of her life because of your teachings, and we learned from you how to give her better food than we would get from a bag of dog food at the store.
Well, this happens very commonly. People don't find me until their dog is older, and then they're kind of searching, and it's kind of like, what can I do? What can I do? And other veterinarians or friends, whoever, have told them, this dog is on its last legs. This dog is going to die. Yeah. As a matter of fact, here's a good story. We just lost a dog 2 days ago that 2 years and 7 months ago, she was diagnosed at the university as having a very aggressive tumor in her liver and near her kidneys. And she was basically sent home to die. They said they could not do an exploratory. They couldn't, even get a biopsy of it because it was in a dangerous position. And nothing could be done for this dog, and they gave her about 30 days to live. And the people came to me, and I said, all right, well, we don't even know what we're dealing with, but let's just, build up the dog's immune system, feed her good food, put her on some supplements. And 2 years and 7 months. And I kept calling her my miracle dog. Because, every once in a while she would have a crash day, and they'd bring her in, and we'd take x-rays. And I was like, holy cow, this tumor is, bigger than a watermelon. This thing is, eating this dog. And let me tell you, she was so happy. She ate great. And she was phenomenal. And I think she literally had 2 bad days at the end. And they said, okay, well, now it's time. But that was 2 years and 7 months. And they don't all go that way. But the fact that you could get 6 more months with Switch, at 13 for a decent-sized dog, she wasn't a little tiny thing. I find that to be gratifying and heartwarming. And the thing is, when you're making that food, you feel like you're really contributing to their health, and you're really contributing to their well-being. And it is part of the bonding process that we have with these old kids as they're, kind of winding down a little bit. And speaking of winding down, I can't believe it, we need to take a break to hear from our sponsors. And then we're going to talk some more dogs in just a minute. Stay tuned.
Interested in learning more? Visit Dr. Morgan's website at www.drjudymorgan.com, where you'll find detailed information about her blogs, a schedule of her upcoming speaking engagements, free information about integrative and holistic medicine, as well as an interactive forum where anyone can ask Dr. Morgan a question completely for free. Visit her website today to join the mailing list, where you'll find exclusive information and promotions only available to those select subscribers. Dr. Morgan is an accomplished author, having published several books about veterinary medicine and home cooking for your pets. You can find From Needles to Natural, detailing her journey from practicing traditional medicine to understanding the healing power of holistic practices today, on Amazon Prime, as well as What's for Dinner Dexter and Canine Kitchen Capers, which are 2 great recipe books that you'll find both delicious and entertaining. When it comes to our pets' health, you can never be too careful. We invest significant time in ensuring that they have long and happy lives, but it's important to invest the same dedication into our own longevity. The key active ingredient in Dr. Morgan's wellness formula, pure New Zealand deer antler velvet, is now available as a standalone human-grade product. Life Deer Antler Velvet is a whole food supplement rich in calcium and collagen to support healthy joints and strong bones. Our products prioritize purity, ethical harvesting, and quality sourcing above all else. Visit lifepurerecovery.com to learn more and order your first bottle today.
Tune into world-renowned author, speaker, and holistic veterinarian Dr. Judy Morgan, and now radio host of Dr. Judy Morgan's Naturally Healthy Pets on syndicated Dream Vision 7 radio network every Monday and Tuesday, 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Not sure which vaccinations should be given or how often? Not sure which food is best for your individual pet? Find out the answers to your questions in this weekly show, where Dr. Judy interviews top experts and showcases the latest products that will help your pets stay naturally healthy.
Does your dog have bad breath? Tired of spending money on expensive dental procedures? Try out Dr. Morgan's Dental Drops today and save money while maintaining your pet's oral health. With New Zealand deer antler velvet as the primary ingredient, Dr. Morgan's Dental Drops are effective for treating stomatitis, gingivitis, and ulcers. You can purchase Dr. Morgan's Dental Drops directly from Amazon Prime or from her website, www.drjudymorgan.com. Dr. Morgan's Wellness Formula for dogs and cats provides multiple health benefits in one product. Made with all natural ingredients sourced from New Zealand, this supplement can be used routinely to maintain overall physical and mental well-being. This product is particularly beneficial for the maintenance of joint health, nerve and brain function, skin and coat health, immune function, gut health, and liver health. Find Dr. Morgan's Wellness Supplement today on Amazon Prime or at her website, drjudymorgan.com.
Welcome back. You're listening to Dr. Judy Morgan's Naturally Healthy Pets. I'm speaking with my guest today, David Alan Arnold, who's a Hollywood helicopter cameraman and author of How I Went from Sweeping the Floor to Painting the Sky and What Lies Above the Clouds. So we were just talking about his dog Switch that he lost recently, and how cooking for the dog really made a difference at the end of life. So, David, do you normally cook? Are you a cooking person?
I am, because although I didn't know to cook for my dog years ago, I knew that when my son was born, and he was from the time he was very, very tiny little baby, I knew to always cook healthy homemade food for him every single day. And that was a way of life for me, raising him. And he grew up on not junk food, not McDonald's, but healthy homemade food. I even baked my own bread at home to feed him. And later in life, when Switch stopped eating, that was scary. I talked to one of our veterinarians, and I said, Switch won't eat. And the tone in her voice over the phone just said it all. She said, ooh, that's not good. And I was, Switch had been such a big part of my life for so long, and it was a little scary. And then, you and I were talking, and I was reading your book, and I thought, okay, well, you know what? I'll cook food for Switch. Let's see if she eats it. And she did, and she perked right up, and I thought, I just felt so good that she was eating again, and she was eating something that's way healthier for her than the bag food that we would get at the store. And then, this is just how we live. It became a routine for my son and I, who was then 9 years old, we would cook food for Switch. So I said, okay, buddy, let's get up. We got to go cook some turkey and rice for Switch. And he would say, what? I go, come on, buddy, let's go. So we would get in the kitchen, and I'd put him to work, and we would, work for half an hour cooking ground meat and rice and putting it together. And then he's sitting there, and he's a typical 9-year-old who doesn't want to eat anything except, Cheetos. And without me saying a word to him, while he's sitting there stirring the ground meat and the rice, he would say, hey, Dad, I think I want to have this for breakfast too. And I would say, okay, you want a bowl too? And he would say, yeah, I'll have a bowl of that too. So, okay, buddy, well, me too. I'll have some. And so we would make a bowl of turkey and rice for Switch, and she would gobble it down, and we would make a bowl for my little one and a bowl for me. We would all eat the same thing for breakfast. And
well, that's the whole point. It's not dog food and people food. It's just food.
Yeah. Well, we sort of fell into that, and I was just so happy to see that he wanted to eat something besides Cheetos. And so that's how we got an extra 6 months of life with Switch the dog. And my son and I were talking about it the other day, just reminiscing. And I said, Wyatt, I just love when we would make food for Switch, and then we would have some too. And he said, yeah, Dad, that's the best. We should do that again. And and so it was, I think for people who might wonder, like, what in the heck am I going to cook for a dog? I think it's probably good to, hear a story of, well, it doesn't have to be this weird, strange, Herculean inconvenience. It can actually be something that sort of fits into your lifestyle, that allows your dog to eat a little bit healthier and allows, you and your family to have an activity to do together besides watching TV or whatever, you normally do in your routines.
It's interesting because when I first started making food for our dogs, now I do a lot of grinding of my own raw foods and stuff for them, but I started out crock-potting everything. And so, I would spend a half an hour chopping everything up and throwing it, making my mixes and putting it in the slow cooker. And then I'd head off to work, and when I come home at the end of the day, my son would come downstairs with a bowl in his hand and say, well, I had some of the, the stew that you made for dinner. It needs salt. It really doesn't have much spice. Well, you just ate the dog's food. And so I tend to put organ meat in mine. So, he did get to eat some liver and some hearts and some good stuff, but he never seemed to mind that, and I would tell him it was in there. He's like, yeah, it's okay. He's like, I just have to add salt. I'm like, okay, fine. So, it